Thank you for attending our summer webinar series. Today's webinar is about our new and updated Fundamentals of Cybersecurity, and it is our course launch webinar. If you are interested in following along, I'm going to put this slides link into the chat here for you. That will be your availability to have slides. You can go on to the next. I'm just welcoming you today. I'm Leanne Grant. I'm a PD specialist here at CodeHS. But our presenters today are Jennifer and Rachel, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hey everyone, I'm Jennifer. Me and Rachel have worked long and hard on this course together. I've been at CodeHS for 5 years, and it's actually the second time we've updated this course because cybersecurity just keeps changing. And I'm excited to show it to you, and I'll let Rachel introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I worked on this course with Jennifer, as she mentioned, and it's been so much fun updating the course. So we're really excited to share it with you. And Jennifer will be the main presenter, and I'll be helping out in the Q&A, but excited to hear your thoughts and get any feedback and share the course with you.
Thank you. Speaking of a Q&A, if you have any questions while Jennifer is talking and presenting some of the information, sometimes it can get lost in the chat. And so I would love for you guys to answer or ask your questions in the Q&A, and then we can either mark that we're going to talk about them live, or Rachel will be able to type the answers to you in the Q&A. So that's what we're going to use today. Before we get started, I do want to tell you a little bit about what CodeHS is, if you're not familiar. CodeHS is a web-based platform where we have K through 12 curriculum for computer science. We have online and offline professional development, and it is a full software platform with teacher tools and resources. So basically everything that you need to start off or to continuing teaching at computer science is here for you. We have absolutely everything. In addition to it being just a regular software platform, you can go ahead one, Jennifer. We do have instant feedback and submission systems, and we have a lot of grading and tracking tools for teachers. Also note that it is all web-based, so only a very few newer courses have additional downloads or plugins that are needed, but the majority of everything we need is all in one place. Okay. So before we get started and looking at the names, I don't think anybody doesn't have an account, but if you don't have a CodeHS account at this time, I would love for you to sign up. When you do sign up for an account with CodeHS, it is free. You get access to all of our curriculum, but you want to sign up with your teacher email. We manually verify all the teachers, and we really would love for you to do that in that way. So today, to be able to follow along and to get some of the information that Jennifer is going to share, we also have another link, and this is a link to join a section. Jennifer, you created a section for them to be students along in the course, correct? Okay, so when you join this, you will see it from the student point of view and what a student would see, and you'll have access to this moving forward. So having said that, I am going to pass it to Jennifer.
Thank you. A little bit more about this section. This section is eventually, after this meeting, I will unlock all the assignments and you'll see all of them. So it's the full cybersecurity updated course. For today, I've only left in the assignments that I'll highlight. So it'll be an easy way to stay along with what I'm showing you. And then after the webinar, I'll just release everything and you can see everything. All right, let's get started. So we are going to highlight some of the added things to this course. So whether you're teaching it for the first time or if you've taught the older one, I'll let you know what is the same. I'll let you know what is updated, and then we'll take a look at a few items in each module. All right, so course overview for this. If you've never taught it before, it is 1 year. There are no specific course prereqs. Students can take it as their first computer science course ever. It does replace the current Fundamentals of Cybersecurity course. So if you did teach the old one, we definitely suggest and recommend that you switch to this one. It teaches topics such as networking, fundamentals, software security, system administration, and cryptography. And I'll go into more detail about some of these in this webinar. It's not a coding focused course, but it does cover basic SQL. And it is 100% aligned to the CompTIA ITF. So it's the ITF fundamental certification. There is one programming module that is in supplemental that you'll have to add in to get 100% aligned, but it is available in there. All right, so what's new? So if you have taught it in the past, what did we change? There's a few main things that we did. We enhanced engagement. We've made a lot more of the material, of a lot more of the items interactive. We've included labs and just things that, well, that students can click on to keep them actively engaged. We've also increased relevancy. Cybersecurity is changing probably daily. So we have updated everything in the course to make sure it is fresh and up to date. And then we've also expanded coverage. So we've added more stuff to the course, including advanced cryptography, the OSI model, risk management, and vulnerability testing. Okay, so this is how I'm going to run this webinar. What I want to do, or the way I'm going to do, is I'm going to highlight each module and just kind of give you an overview of what topics are in each module. And then we'll take a look at maybe 3 or 4 items, something like that. And a quick look, just a real quick look, just to highlight what's a little bit different in this course. So the first module that students go through is cybersecurity and you. And this is a lot of basic information to get them started with cybersecurity. So digital footprint, cyberbullying, that's all still in here, information literacy. And a few of the topics that you will see in here are cyberbullying, social media, data and privacy laws. Got information literacy, like I said, artificial intelligence. So that one we did add in. Copyright, cyber ethics and laws, the AAA security framework, Internet of Things. There's a lot in this one. The CIA triad. And then cybersecurity essentials. So the last few lessons go over malware, phishing, and ransomware. And then let's take a look. So what I did here is I just highlighted just a few items just to show you what's changed. So in this first module, I'll go over, or I'll just quickly, we'll take a quick look at just these 4 items. So I'm going to open them in a different page. No, I'm not. I'm going to open it right here. So we have what we're calling interactive learning pages, where students do have something to click on within the page, which just helps with engagement. We did add some things like artificial intelligence and then a reflection question that they'll answer in the following item. But then they have like a choice here. So here they have a choice. They can click here and watch that video, or they can click here and watch that video. And then they have, you know, a few more reflection questions that will go on any one of these. So that's one new item that you'll see in the first module. We've also included, we tried to include student choice wherever we could. So here in this module, students get the ability to choose their enrichment video to watch in this cool little CodeHS TV environment. So lesson 1 is, or channel 1 is just a lesson summary, and then they get to choose whether they want to learn about deep fake videos, fake news articles, and they just choose the channel over here, and then they watch that video. Here's just one more example of the interactive learning pages. So again, they learn some material and then they have some self-check items that they can complete. So this one is a matching. So like nation states, I think that's the global edge, cyber criminals is profit. And if it's not right, oh, that was right. If it's not right, it bounces back. And then it's just a good way to basically practice what they're learning right away. I have so many things open, all my buttons are blocked. Here's just another example. So in this one, students get to create a cyber story by rolling an interactive die here. So depending on what they get, so 1, they'll they'll choose this one and then they'll roll again. They'll get a 6 and then they'll choose this one. And then they'll write a story about it as a summary of basically everything that they've learned in this module. And those are the preview items for the first module. Rachel is here to answer questions and I can answer them live as well. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And we'll move on to module 2. So module 2 is cryptography, one of my favorites. It just feels like a bunch of puzzles. So cryptography, we did add a lot to this one. So we still include the Caesar cipher, the Vigenère cipher, but we have added things like public key encryption. We've gone a little deeper into that topic. We still have brute force and letter frequency. but we've added things like transposition ciphers. Public key encryption, like I said, is just a little bit more in depth. We've added digital certificates and hash functions. So let's take a look at what is in this. A few items in here. So I'll only highlight, it looks like just a few. So here's another interactive learning page, which is really cool. Students get to copy this poem by Robert Frost and put it in this letter counter. And then instantly they'll see that letter frequency does work because it looks like there's the most E's in this poem. And then they just continue on with this page and answer a few questions and see if they, use a Caesar cipher as opposed to the Vigenère cipher, which one helps avoid that letter frequency. It's a very cool activity for them to go through. And then here's another option or another activity that offers choice. So students get to choose one thing to learn from the past, and they can either watch or they can read or they can play. And then once they're done learning, then they actually even get to choose how they want to present and demonstrate what they learned. So if they want to create a collage, they can go to slide 5 and it'll direct them how to do that. They can create an advertisement instead and go to this slide. That just gives them a wider range, a wider choice of how to show you that they have learned the material. We also have the Diffie-Hellman visualizer. So this is where I was talking about the asymmetric material, just goes a little bit more into depth. And this one is where you can choose like different views, and you can even show the math if you've got a good group of advanced students and kind of go through the math there. And you can choose different colors just to see and help explain how public key encryption works. And then last one to highlight is a partner activity where students can enter a secret password, let's just call it secret, and it creates a hash. And then they hide their password. And then in reality, the students would never be able to guess that, but we're going to scramble the password for the second partner. And if they can unscramble it correctly, they'll see that the hashes match. So this one matches this one. And that's just showing that they're not, actually storing the passwords, but they're storing the hashes. All right, well, that's it for cryptography. We do have some new projects in the course. This is the first project that students will come across, and it's create an escape room. So students have the choice to create either a physical escape room where they actually hide things, or a digital one where you have to maybe unscramble something and use that password to get into a new like Google form or something like that. And there are directions in here for the teachers, for the students to help them through this. And the way that they create the escape room is they choose a few ciphers and they just basically use cryptography and hide their messages or hide their passwords. And this would be about a week long, I believe, this project. All right, system administration. So system administration, if you are used to teaching our Fundamentals of Cybersecurity course, this one only changed a little bit. We saved some stuff because we had just redone it maybe a few years ago and it was still good information. We have updated a lot in here, including 2 labs. So we've added 2 labs. Now, the reason that I have put the labs in there, or the reason that we have decided to put the labs in their own lesson here, is these are more hands-on labs. So it depends on what materials you have, whether you'll be able to, or even permissions that you have. Like some students may not be able to get into their command line interface. So if you can't do the lab, putting them in their own lesson, very easy, just unassign that lesson and you'll skip over that one. But these labs may not take the whole day. Things that you'll find in this module are just different operating systems, filing extensions, software licenses, and open source versus proprietary, software patches, user account permissions, and then a security baseline. Students will work on all of that. Let's preview a few activities. So we did update some of it. Some of it is the same, but we did update some of it. So this is one of those interactive learning pages where students get to order operating system ordering activity, and then they check to see if they're right. And then we have another self-check here where students can test their knowledge, make sure they understood what was taught in the lesson, and then they check their answers. Oh, I did very bad. And then it will update as you get them right. I think this one's server. And then once you get them all right, there's like a nice little green message that said you got them all right. We also still have, if you're new to cybersecurity, then you may not have seen this one, but I thought this was a cool one to highlight because some students cannot get into their command line interface. So this one, and I don't know if you'll hear it, maybe, I hope you don't, it might be, maybe I'll just minimize there we go, I'll just quiet it. But this just shows someone working through the command line interface, and then the students have to basically pause it and guess what happened or guess what the person was doing. So this is a really good alternative if students cannot do that lab in person. They'll get to watch someone else do it and then answer questions about it. And then this is the lab. So here's just an example of what the lab may look like. The lab is going to be just a printable activity. And we did include instructions for Macs and then for Windows as well. Is this the same? Nope, this is the next one. So that is actually the first semester. I'll go into some of the second semester stuff. Are there any questions? I'll just pause right now just to see if you have any questions about the first semester stuff. And then we can take questions at the end too, if you're not sure. I'm excited about this module. So this module starts the second semester, and this is all brand new. This used to be like the internet module. So this is teaching students how the internet works with IP addresses and domain name system. And this one is all new, brand new stuff from top to bottom. Very excited about this module. So some of the stuff that you'll see in here are bytes and bits, or bits and bytes, pixel images, internet protocols, domain name system. And then we finished up with that catch-all lesson, impact of the internet. So that is a very open-ended assignment that has students kind of explore something. So that gives the teacher, or it gives the students the openness to explore what they want, or the teacher can direct them to what might be the most pressing issue in that environment, in your classroom environment. So things like digital divide, censorship, cultural influence. Let's take a look at some of these new items. So the students do get to write a message in binary. So they create their own encoding over here. So I actually did this earlier. So I encoded H. This is a little small. No, that's not really helping. Well, maybe a little bit. So you can create like 8, like let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's make that an exclamation point. And students will get to create their own encoding. And then if I add that in here, it will add it to my output right here. So that's one activity. Students also get to do a very similar activity, but with color. So in this case, they find here we go. They find the key code over here. If they want to, do a pink color, then they have their encoding over here, and then they can color a picture here. And this one actually does have an auto grader, which would be really, there's like a specific instructions for this one. So if they try to submit it and it's not done, it will tell them what they're missing. We're going to continue anyway for today's purposes, just to keep going. We also have some exploration activities. So some of these are more off screen, so you can print them out, or you can have students complete them, in Google Drive. And this one's more like a reflection on the Pixel activity that they just did. So this might be, some of them are completely unplugged. Some of them are like they're writing on their page, but then kind of also looking at an assignment they just completed. It's just something different, a different way of getting students involved. This really helps with group work or collaboration because students can work on it together. And then this is just what one of them looks like. So we have a lot of these new projects in the or new assignments in the course as well. We've also included, because we learned that the internet, just the topics, they're hard to visualize sometimes. So we've added a lot of animations. I'm going to mute this one too, but we have animations like this one, and this is another interactive page where students can click the play button and start it. We also have some more applicable, content here, and then some more animations as well, just to really drill down these concepts. And we've added them into the videos too. So a lot of times the videos were more or less, they're PowerPoints and they're slide decks, but this, we have included many animations within that. Let's see if I can mute this one too. It is muted, perfect. And I'll give you an example somewhere over here. And I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but even if you can, it's fine.
Correct HTML file based on the GET request. TCP/IP breaks the file into packets and labels each packet with a number and the sender and receiver's IP address. The packets then make their way through multiple routers until they reach your computer.
So there's more of that, but that's like an example of how we've added some of these really cool animations just for, again, just engagement purposes and really giving the students something visual to look at. I believe that's it for this module. Yep. The module that follows that one, this one is pretty similar to the current fundamentals course. So we didn't do too much updating here except adding some more labs. So we've added 3 labs here. And again, if you don't have a computer that they can disassemble, you can drop, that first lab, or the other ones, you could take a look and see if you want to include them or not. Oh, I missed one. There's one here right here, 6.6. There's a lab too. I didn't copy that one. So there's 4 labs in this one. And we're going to learn things like RAM, servers, switches and routers, bits per second, cable comparisons, and firewalls. So let's take a look at a few of these. We have updated some of it. So a lot of this is the same as the other course, but we have updated many things in the course still. So here's one of those interactive learning pages. And this one is asking or talking about best router placement. So students, again, read through it, and then to make sure that they understood what they wrote, what they read, they're going to answer a question. So here's asking, what's the best place to put a router? Let's guess C, which is probably not the answer because it's right near that fish tank. And it will tell you, no, not quite sure. Somewhere in the middle is going to be right, probably that B. And then, yeah, students can go through here and see why it's a good location or maybe not a great location. And here's an example of one of the mobile device labs. And I wanted to highlight this one because students can use, their phones, the iPhone, the Android, but we did find this really cool site, which I don't know if I'll be able to go into, but we did find a site that has like these really cool phone simulators. So if you don't want your students to actually bring out their phones, or maybe if you're in a school that just bans phones altogether, you can still do these labs with fake phones that we found online. And then last thing to highlight, and this is from the current course, but is just a cool interactive activity that gets students looking at logs. They get to look at this log and see where someone might be trying to break in, but then they can also click on these and get a few hints. So these are like a little tool tips or helpful hints as they go through this log, because this can be a little intimidating for a student, but these will help them out. Okay, and here's a new project. This project used to be in the advanced cyber course. We brought it down, made sure that it was the difficulty level matched this, a beginner's course. And this one is really cool because this is having students act like an IT professional. So it's called a project, but this is going to be a longer project. This is almost like a project module. It's kind of like a mix in between both. So what this is it has students kind of pretend that they are an IT professional. So even though this is a project, I am going to show you a few pieces that, or a few assignments that are in here. So students first get to act like they are on a support call or a customer service call. So this could be really fun depending on your group of students, because it does allow almost like acting. It's like improv. So that might make some of your students terrified, but it could hit some of those really good theatrical students as well. So they go through and then they write a script basically that they're in a customer service call, and they get the practice of that. And this hits a lot of those business professional skills that a lot of states really require as well. And then they continue on. So they do work through some support tickets. So here's an example of a support ticket, and they get to choose the priority. This is too big. Let's see, lower it. There we go. And then they get to, like, this is their request detail. And then they get to do the troubleshooting step, going through the methodology. And there's a few of them down here that they can go through. And they have 3 support tickets to get through and practice their skills on. And part of this support ticket is that they actually get an email back from the customer. So here's a fun little interactive email inbox that they can click on. They can see that the printer is, the certain model. And then there's other fun stuff in here, like a phishing email, just to keep them on their toes. So a lot of other things that you can just also have discussions about. And then they finish it up with creating like a tutorial video, which I really do think students will like this. It's almost like those YouTube videos where they're like unboxing something or they're teaching you something. Like this is along those lines. So they would create a storyboard of sorts of teaching something, some sort of troubleshooting tip, and they can share these with the class. So that's how they finish up this project. We're almost done. All right, data security. This is the last main module. There's a project after this. This is the last main module, and I actually think this one probably is my favorite. It has a lot of interactive things in it. We've added a capture the flag lesson, which was a huge request from teachers. If you're new to cybersecurity, it's usually a competition. In our case, it's just activities that students, you hide flags within like the code of websites, and then you go ahead and find them. So we did include that, and I'll show you a few of those examples in a second. So within this is mainly this is completely this whole thing is new. And what you'll learn in here is you'll learn about data centers, database management systems. They will still learn SQL and SQL queries. They're going to learn SQL injection and cross-site scripting. And then they're going to also learn more about how to keep code secure. So things like input validation, buffer and integer overflow. And then they'll go into penetration testing. So reconnaissance and, oh goodness, where it is? There it is, penetration testing. So let's take a look at some of these items. We've updated the SQL activities. So they're not quite big data. They're not that big, but they are much bigger data sets that students are working with. So in this case, like let's say they look at all of them. There's a pretty large data set that they're looking through. And then they're going to practice their queries. So if they don't want to see all of them, well, then they have to figure out which query to write to bring up just the ones they want to learn about. So these, kind of like filtering through a database. And then with that, now that they are using SQL, we're also getting them to use SQL injection. I haven't done anything that, or this meeting, let's see if we can get a little interactive with the people who are on here. So there's 13 of you here. This data set is listing the most used passwords. So what do you think one password might be? You can put it in the chat. What's one of the most used passwords? It is, Amy. I think that's number one. It's so sad. That's why we need this course, right? Password. So if you guess a password right, it brings it up. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is in theirs too. Let's see. Oh, that one's not. Oh, wait, actually, that might just be my internet. I think my internet is just too slow right now. Okay, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one is one of them. But we also have the students figure out how to use SQLi here. So they can actually put in, oh no, I hear thunder in my background, so I'm wondering if my internet is going bad, but hopefully I won't get kicked off. But you can do or 1 = 1, and then comments, and then this kind of teaches the students, well, now they can see the entire thing, which is what we're trying to prevent in the next lesson. And this lesson or this activity teaches them how to prevent things like that. And it goes through like a few different modifications or a few different things that programmers can do to save. So here it says like enter a number grade, but you can actually enter in letters. So that's not great. And then it brings them down, it helps them explore that. And then it brings them closer to why do we need the input validation? So if I just do like my email is Jennifer, it's going to tell me, well, first fill out that, and then it's going to tell me that's not right. So this was input validation here. It won't let it go through. And then you won't be able to see this because you can't see me typing, but this one is a symbol blocker. So you can't even put in symbols. So right now I'm trying to type symbols and you can't see that I'm doing it, but take my word for it. And it won't even let you put them in the input. So this is just showing different versions of the input validation. Okay, so here is the capture the flag activity. So in this one, students do get to use the page source, which I think you should be able to see this. Okay, cool. And then they find flags, which actually I don't want to be in here. I'm going to have an issue with this one, I think, because I can't see my my browser bar. There it is. Okay, let's do it this way. Okay, so they open it in a new tab and then they do find a source or page source. And then here you can see that they have flags. So here's like the first flag, and then there's other flags like in the style CSS. They'll find this flag down here. I think this would be really fun for students. Okay, let's go back here. Nope, this one. And then I did want to highlight, because I know a lot of teachers said that students can't access their developer tools. So we do have an alternate activity for students who can't access their developer tools. So I'll open both of these. We've got console secrets, and then we've got the simulated console secrets. So if you can use developer tools, well, then you can just go to them and you can go to your console and you'll see all of the, this is what the students are supposed to do. So here's the flag again. Here's another flag. And if you don't have that ability, if students cannot do that, then here is kind of like faking it. So again, this is their console. It's not really a console, but they still get to learn the same exact topics and same exact skills, but just using a little bit, different format. All right, and I think this might be the last. Let's see, is this the last one? I believe so. And we still do have this simulated command line interface. So students, we've added some things to this. So it's not just, basically they're checking IP addresses over here. So let's see if I can do this. We got N, M, A, P, that's an O, and then the IP address. Let's go 120.34.11.110. Nope, I did it wrong. I knew that was going to happen. I think it's a capital O. I put a 0. Either way, when you do it right, it works. Let's see if I could I think that's it. Rachel, is that an O or a 0?
It's an O.
It is an O, so I might have just typed it in wrong.
Oh, I think you typed the IP address in wrong. Yeah, you got it.
Put the IP address in wrong. So there we go. So when you do it right, they get to look at these, like the response from the command line interface, and then there's questions that go along with it. There we go. And then we end the course with a project that we pulled down from the Advanced Cyber course, and again, adjusted it for difficulty level. And this one's called The Game of Risk. So students take everything that they've learned and they're going to create a game, either, a card game or something where you roll the dice or something like that. Very creative, a little open-ended, but there is, guiding principles within there. And students get to create games. And this works well for a teacher because the students will create the game, which, helps them remember and summarize everything they've learned, and then they can play each other's games. So again, it's just more and more review. So it's a really good end of the year activity to work on. I believe that's it. Leanne, do you have to come back on and go over these couple slides?
Yeah, I'll finish up for you. Thank you so much for presenting that information. We do have a question in the chat or in the Q&A. It says, if we miss one of these webinars, we will still get an email after the links. Yes. Absolutely. So as long as you register for one of the webinars, I will email you with these slides and the recording afterwards. Okay, so I am going to drop one thing in the chat really quick. This is the course overview in the course catalog. So you guys can see, that's where you will see the syllabus and everything there as well. To wrap up everything else, if you are more involved in or wanting to get into more involved with CodeHS, we have a couple ways to do that. You always can become a CodeHS certified educator. We have micro-credentials available for teachers. You can join our CodeHS Facebook educators group, and you can follow us on social media. It's at CodeHS. We also have 3 more weeks of webinars for our summer webinars. We are done August 6th. And so next week is AP week. And then after that, we actually are doing a teaching cybersecurity where we're going to take this course and we're going to do a deep dive for 2 hours on some best practices and stuff like that and it's taught by a teacher trainer that is actually here with us today watching that has taught cybersecurity in the classroom before. And then we get into our getting started teaching computer science in middle school. And then the last couple to get wrapped up after that, you can go ahead one slide. We have our game development and Unity course launch. That's our very last course launch of the summer. And then collaborating with AI. And then again, teaching game development in Unity. We'll do a deep dive into how to teach that in the classroom after that. And then we are done through August and we come back for our back to school. We start the weekend after Labor Day is our back to school webinars will start. Also, if you want to learn more, if you want to bring CodeHS to your school or your district, you can do that by going to codehs.com/learn more. So I want to thank you for joining today. Thank you so much, Jennifer and Rachel, for being here and presenting. This is an amazing course. We've heard some great feedback on it already. So you guys did a great job. So thank you so much. And if there's no other questions, we will have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.